Hello, hello. Check, check. Mr. Fred Field, are you still here? My goodness. Anna Bees, are you still here? I apologize profusely for keeping you guys waiting. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Fred says, I'm going to highlight this one because it's the only one I haven't read of his yet. It says, I gave up after all the heat and rain the last few weeks. I think he meant weeks, typos. My lawn is 50% crabgrass, not high enough to cut, LOL. Yeah, I know. I use a weed whacker on my lawn. That's one of the reasons why I turned our whole front and side yard into like a rock garden. I need a little Japanese tea garden bridge. My birthday's coming up and I'm going to demand that I get one for my birthday. So, how are you guys if you're still here? And look, I've got 4 people. Thank you so much for being here. I really apologize profusely for keeping you waiting. I lost the connection again with the, storms. And hopefully we won't have a problem like we did the other day. So the last time I did my live was the day before yesterday, and I lost the connection after about an hour, and then I came back on for 2.5 more hours and lost the connection again. And I don't want to be inconsistent and unpredictable, but I am, I'll admit it. I don't need anything to help me be more inconsistent and unpredictable, though, do I? There's so much to discuss, and I don't want to miss any of it. And I want to find out what you guys want to talk about. I put the most horrifying, in my opinion, the most horrifying photograph that I've ever seen. I don't even think I'm exaggerating, because I don't look at a lot of horrifying pictures. Okay. I just don't. I don't need to expose my brain to that. However, the picture that is in the thumbnail, when I first saw it, I always think, oh, it's got to be artificial intelligence. But no, this is verified. I verified it about 10,000 times. Not that it couldn't still be, whatever. Nothing is certain in this world, huh? This was a trip that the T family, we'll call them, the little T family, took 6 years ago to Winston Churchill's war bunker. And the photograph that I used for the thumbnail, to me, Ivanka almost looks like an anime character, up against the wall, hanging with her head down and her eyes dark. And she's literally got her hands covering her private area. And then her daddy is standing over the bed with his hands in his same private area and this extremely aggressive look on his face. And it's not just the 2 of them in it. There's a couple of people in the background, but it's horrifying. It's freaky AF. And in my opinion, a picture says 1,000 words. And of course, it's not proof of anything incriminating, but it's indicative of some potential crimes, in my opinion. You may have already seen, and I can't remember if I put the link in the description yet already or not. There's a new old video of Ivanka circulating the internet for the last 24 or 48 hours. It's an interview of her years ago, probably 20 years ago, I'd take a guess, giving a tour of the lavender room, which was her bedroom in the Trump Tower on the 68th floor. And at about the 30-second mark to the 45-second mark, and if I haven't already put the link in the description, I will, but you can Google it, Ivanka giving a tour of the lavender room. It'll pop right up. And the 30-second mark to the 45-second mark, if a picture says 1,000 words, a video says 10,000 words. So I'll just give you briefly what I'm getting at, which is that she's in a very cheerful mood. Like, come on into my old bedroom, and here it is, and look at all my posters of 90210 and Bon Jovi, and here's my bed. And her voice kind of cracks when she says bed. And she says a couple other words after that, and then she falls silent for 3 seconds. In that time, it's like the soul is drained from her body. It's like she's having an out of body experience, in my opinion. It's like she's completely disassociating. In my opinion, she looks like she's about to throw up. She also looks like she's choking. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And then a few seconds later, she's like, oh, look at the view. And man, does she do an amazing job of just flipping that switch and changing the subject. I'll leave the rest of it up to you to form your own opinion. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. I love coming on to talk with Anna Bees and Fred Field, two of my favoritist viewers and commenters. So thank you guys so much for being here. I've got a ton of notes. I got a ton in me brain, and I want to keep up with you guys. So this is probably going to be like a 4-year video. OMG, OMG. Seriously, there's just so much I've been wanting to talk with you guys about. And of course, it's like almost 4 o'clock here, and with all of the storm, and I have not eaten today. I've got my coffee. I've got my yogurt. I don't advertise, but I do like to share what I like, because this thing, Noosa, it's a brand of full fat yogurt. I like whole milk and whole milk products. I believe in the fat. I believe in butter. And I buy it at Costco, like pretty much almost everything. My other favorite store is Trader Joe's, but I don't make it there as often as I make it to Costco. Costco's just a little bit closer for me. And, sorry, I dropped some on my handy dandy notebook. Okay. And then I've got a surprise for you, and I am going to get your comments, Anna Bees. Have you ever heard of eating rose? I've never heard of eating rose. This is amazing. This is called Anima Mundi, ANIMAMUNDI. And again, I'm not advertising for anybody for money. I'm just doing it because I love these things, and I want to know if you guys are interested, what you think. So this is herbal supplement. It's called Rose Open Heart, Love, Serenity, and it's pure rose petals, organic. You have to be careful to make sure you're not getting chemicals. And I'll show you what it looks like. I'm stirring it into my yogurt. Like, I bought it to put into tea. It's just like a powder. Gosh, it smells so good. And it's such a beautiful color. It's kind of like a purplish, kind of a desert rose color, but almost like a burgundy, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not magenta, not burgundy, mauve. It's like a really rich mauve. Like, usually mauve is kind of a boring color. Anyway, I'm mixing it into my blueberry yogurt, and I hope that you don't mind if I eat in front of you, because like I said, I've not eaten anything all day, and I don't want to be in the habit of eating in front of you guys. But if I don't eat in front of you guys, it just postpones me getting onto my live, and I have it postponed long enough. It's really hard because I have my studio in my house. I used to have my studio at work where I got no interruptions at all, ever, believe it or not. And I wasn't breaking any rules at work. It was absolutely fine. It was actually my employer that suggested that I go ahead and do my YouTube thing while I was at work. And I was like, really? Serious? Okay. Anyway, I quit that job like 1.5 years ago. I kept it way too long, and I should have quit sooner. But anyway, we don't need to talk about that. What we need to talk about is what Anna Bees is saying. I'll have to look at it. I don't think I noticed the thumbnail. Oh, dear Lord, Anna Bees, brace yourself. Trigger warning. Not kidding you. Trigger warning. I will have to rewatch that video. I also didn't notice that look, and where I watched it, they said the same thing you just did. Oh, tell me where you watched it if you want to share, if you remember. I haven't said anything. Yes, you have. You've said a lot. Everything you say is really important, my dear. Okay, so I did my disclaimer. I did not show you the thumb, but I have it lit up sort of, hopefully, so you can see it in the corner. Please hit your like button. Make sure that you're still subscribed. Turn on your notification bell to ring and share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like it. So today I really want to talk about where we left off, which was with all of the E factor crap, the little E. How's my lighting? How's my sound? How's my hair? And please, no cleavage. No cleavage. Good, that's not an issue. I'm a little washed out, but that's okay. My hair's a little wackadoodle, but that's okay too. How are you guys? I watched it on Keith Edwards, I think. Yeah, I like Keith Edwards. And I'm going to be completely brutally honest, and I hope that it's okay with everyone, because I just have to be brutally honest. I love a lot of these channels. I love Keith Edwards. I love Midas Touch. I love Legal AF and Occupy Democrats and Jack Cucciarella, Adam Mockler, Luke Beasley. I've had it. Rosie's Insights. A lot of these channels I love, love, love. And so I try not to criticize, but I'm going to criticize a lot of those channels that I just mentioned. Not all of them, but a lot of them. They give the freaking thumbnail that is a freaking lie, and I'm sick of it. Like, stop with the misleading thumbnails. If you have brand new explosive information, then fine, say you have brand new explosive information. When you say you have brand new explosive information and it's something I saw 3 weeks ago, not in any private little dark corner of the internet, but you know what I mean. Man, I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of it. And it's supposed to be not compliant with community standards on YouTube, and they do not enforce it at all. And everybody's competing to try to get you to choose their video over the millions of others, so I get it, but no, don't freaking mislead me. I am so done with that crap. It's really frustrating. There's a lot of new news coming out every day, and then there's stuff that's not new, that it was new years ago, and then it's newly getting rediscovered. There was an interview that I want to say it's with the guy who's been doing all the interviews with everybody. The guy, the dude. I'll think of his name in a minute. I'm sure it's in my notes. Anyway, just drawing a huge blank. He interviewed Little E, talking about conversations that he had with Little T, where Little T was really upset about his second wife being preggers before he married her and not knowing what to do and wondering if he should just push her down the stairs. And this was in around 1990-ish. So she was pregnant with Tiffany. He ended up marrying her briefly, just for about 18 months. The mom, Marla, who, remember, Marla's like a cousin of Heather Locklear's. And Morgan Fairchild, she ties into the family stuff too. It's so weird how all these people are connected. Is that going to stay up, or is it going to keep falling? Anyway, who is the guy who's been doing all the interviews? Lighting and sound is good. This isn't your OnlyFans channel. LOL. Oh, Fred, you're cracking me up. Oh, you know what I mean with my cleavage. I try so hard to never show it, but the problem is, movement. I mean, right now the mic is in exactly the right place, and I have a little cami on under my t-shirt because things just go do a deep dive, and I like to do the deep dive. I don't want my neckline doing the deep dive. Damn it. And then the camera's up a little bit higher. So a lot of times when I'm preparing and I look in the mirror straight on, I got everything under control. And then the second I come on, it's a different issue because it's like up like, I don't know, a quarter inch or something, barely. Like I wouldn't even notice except for that issue. And then the camera really distorts things. Like, you know, if I'm sitting like this and like, look at my arms, they look so weird. Look how weird that looks. And a lot of times it does it with your face, it does it with your nose, it does it with your hair, with your pigtails. Like my pigtails are completely even, Steven. But I feel like my camera is saying that one of them's a little bit higher than the other. But if it's telling you that, it's lying. Anyway, let's get back on track. Who is that guy who's been doing all the interviews? Michael Bloom. Michael Bloom is the one who has interviewed everybody. And so he's interviewed hundreds of hours, or at least 100 hours, I think, with little E before he passed away, that he has tape recorded because he was like doing a biography. And then he's got a lot of conversations with the Trumpster Fire. I think he has conversations with, I'm not sure if some of the other players, key players. But anyway, Michael Bloom's been very high profile lately, coming out with some explosive material. So he was the one who said about Jeffrey Epstein. I think he even played the recording of Jeffrey Epstein saying it. And I'll have to remember whose channel it was on. It was just today. So I might be able to find it just scrolling on my phone, and I'm going to try that real quick. Oh gosh, I totally agree. Clickbait. I know, it's so annoying. Clickbait is illegal on the YouTube community standards. I mean, it's not breaking the law, but it's a bait and switch. Bait and switch in advertising, I think, is illegal. I mean, it's just tacky. And so for the channels that keep doing it, which is like, it seems like almost all of them, and I appreciate so much, like Rosie's Insights never clickbaits, ever. Never, ever, ever, like this many times. And I've watched a lot of her videos. There we go. This many times is Rosie's Insight clickbait. It's so frustrating. And therefore, she's one of my favorite channels. Maybe it's a chick thing because I don't think I've had it clickbaits either. Like, there's just no need for it, people. Come on. Like, a lot of these channels with millions of subscribers, they do the freaking clickbait thing. And I guess you could say that's why they have the millions of subscribers, but have some integrity, please. Like, just get a grip. We all need to be straightforward, because if you're going to clickbait, then, I do think that they sometimes distort their information too. And I hate to say that. I really don't like saying that. But again, I'm just being honest. Sometimes I think that some of those channels that do the clickbait don't represent the information as concisely as they should, and that they're doing that intentionally. They're trying to hype it up. I try so hard not to do that. If you ever think I'm doing that, please, you can call me out live. You can make it in my comment section. You can send me an email privately. I don't care. I mean, I would much rather that you call me out live and I can check myself, and, we can agree to disagree, or I can say, yeah, you got a great point there. Hello. Or I can say, no, actually, it's as bad as it looks. Like that effing photograph of them standing over the bed and Trumpster Fire practically holding his groin. That is a typical ape move that they do when they are trying to display dominance as the alpha male. Seriously, it's a gorilla thing. Like in the zoo, those kinds of gorillas, not like guerrilla warfare. Anna B says, oh, she's, I can't even believe that. Oh, the thing about throwing Marla down the freaking stairs. This is the thing that people don't realize about domestic violence, is that people who do domestic violence are very dangerous people, not just to their love interest, not just to their unborn child, which is the two most dangerous times for a victim of domestic violence to be fatal is when she's trying to leave, like Gabby Petito, and or when she's preggers, like Shanann Watts. These are the two most dangerous times in a woman's life if her partner has any tendency towards domestic violence. Above comment is about pushing Maria down the stairs. Exactly. Yeah, I figured that one out. Marla, I said Maria because me glasses, and the camera's just a little far away, so you can get the full effect of all the cool crap in the background. It gets so busy back here, so I covered which side? Yeah, this side. Covered this whole shelf with one of my what are these things? The jellyfish tapestries. And I like it like that. The less is more. I'm kind of thinking I might cover everything over here too. I always want to have the Statue of Liberty and the A to Z, since that's like my channel stuff. And I love the rest of it too, but less is more. Anyway, enough about all that. I'm looking to see what channel I saw the thing on that you're talking about, the interview of Michael Bloom interviewing Little E and him retelling the story. And maybe Little E is talking smack. Maybe you can't trust Little E. I mean, he's not the most trustworthy individual, but isn't it interesting that that's exactly how Ivana passed away? I think now that I'm repeating those words, I think it was Keith Edwards that said it. I also hate that they talk about something we all have known for a long time. Exactly. And I love Jack Cocherella so much. I really enjoy everything about his channel, except for that he often talks about things as if they're brand new. And it's either something really old or it's something that's been talked about for weeks. And again, I think it's good to be honest, like if that information gets back to him that I'm criticizing him for that, maybe he can take it as constructive criticism, because everything else about his channel I absolutely love. And it's a very similar thing with all of those bigger channels that I mention. And I try not to criticize too, because I'm just glad that they do what they do. And I'm glad that people are watching them too. Let me see. You know how to look up your history, right? It is always awesome to look up your history. The funny thing about my history is it sometimes shows things that I didn't watch. It's like you can't trust anything. So let's see. It could have been the damage report. And it could have been Keith Edwards. So let me play for you. How can I do it? I think if I just play a clip of that video, the clip from the 30-second mark to the 45-second mark, because it's like a 5-minute video, I think that I can do that. And I believe that I can do that without getting dinged for, copyright and all that jazz. Let's see. I want to turn my volume all the way down when I'm doing anything on my phone when I'm live. And then trying to get to this video. Okay, so here's an analysis of this still shot taken in Churchill's war room in 2019. And I think that's a written analysis. And that's not the one I was looking for. Let me see if it doesn't look like I did put the Ivana one in there yet, the video. So that's just like a written analysis of the still shot. And it's really good. It's really good. It's very similar to what I said. So here is the video. and I'm going to take it to the 30-second mark, and then I'm going to right before the 30-second mark, so you can watch her demeanor change. She's very cheerful. She's just come into the room. She's showing it off, and then here we go. Ready?
Sort of wall. This was
Here.
my bed. It's a little small for me now. Probably why I don't stay in here anymore.
Oh,
yeah.
And what floor?
The glare.
We are on the 68th floor.
Okay, 68th floor. So that is at the 43-second mark. I'm going to play it again. I apologize that I don't have the software to be able to just show it on my screen. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description. It's called Kevin Across America, the channel, and it says take a tour of Ivanka. And let's see. So I'm going to go to about 29 seconds. And this is when she switches. And I'm going to hold it back this far so you can hear it. And I don't know how to do it so that you can see it, because it's the look on her face. You know what? Let me just do it without. I'm going to just show it to you as much as I can. Let's see.
Wall. This was my bed. It's a little small for me now. Probably why I don't stay in here anymore, but yeah.
And what floor are we at?
Damn, that freaking glare. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time.
Not a bad view to wake up to.
So this is my bed. Her voice kind of cracks when she says bed. And I apologize profusely for my clumsiness with this crap. But like I said, I'll put the link in the description, or you can find it on your own. And this is the 27-second mark, and I'm going to play it till about the 45-second mark. So I'm going to just try to get it where you can see it without that horrible glare.
Trophy. Sort of wall. This was my bed. It's a little small for me now. Probably why I don't stay in here anymore, but yeah.
And what floor are we at?
We are on the 68th floor. Not a bad view to wake up to.
All right. Yeah. To the 49-second mark. So just about 20 seconds is what I played for you there. I should not get dinged for that. But what I've noticed is that with the new rules is that people play things without the sound. And I almost want to try that. Put it on mute so you can just look at the look on her face. And again, I know it's terrible with the way the glare is. Let's see. I put it, okay, there, that's better, isn't it? Okay, I'm gonna hold it right there. Come on. What the hell's wrong with you? So ridiculous. She looks like she's about to cry. She looks like she's suffocating. She looks like she's like dying inside. And then change the subject. Okay. Enough of that crap. I have got to get the software to be able to just show a video in a situation like this. It's horrible. It's gotten really old for me. It really wasn't an issue for me too much until more recently. So, I'm probably going to have to get like a whole new computer. And can you donate some money? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, OMG, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm not trying to hit you guys up, really. But I'm out of ink. I need some ink money. That's funny, right? For anybody who knows what I'm referring to. Where were we at? Yes, I look up my history all the time. Yeah, so anybody who doesn't know how to look up their history, you can just Google how do I look up my YouTube history, because it's very, very handy. And sometimes it can be a little tricky if you're an old fogey and you don't know what you're doing, or you can ask somebody to show you how to do it. But anything you don't know how to do, just Google, how do I do this? And there's usually like a 45-second video or 10-minute video that'll show you exactly how to do whatever it is. Like you could even Google, like, how do I Google? But it shows stuff I don't know about because I fall asleep with YouTube on all the time. Well, see, it was showing stuff that it said that I watched just like an hour ago that I did not watch. Like I noticed the video, and I think that the videos that they feed you on your algorithm, the things that you talk about, because it's eavesdropping on you all the time. So like I get videos about the CULT, I get videos about the Bohemian stuff, and then they also show up in my history as if I watched them, but it's a lying liar. I already know enough about that stuff and I don't want to know anything else. Thanks anyway, because that's a lot of what this crap is. And I'm going to stay caught up with you. I haven't even gotten to my notes yet. So let's try to stay caught up and then jump into the notes. Because, yeah, like I said earlier, I wanted to kind of wrap up the stuff on the little E where I left off when the storm took me offline again. And then I wanted to talk more about the victims. So Annie Farmer has been stepping forward and going on interviews lately, not just Maria Farmer. Maria Farmer keeps doing it, but her little sister Annie is doing it now too. And so are a handful of others that haven't really spoken out before. And I'm so happy that they're doing it. And they have got to be heard. They absolutely have to be heard because there's hundreds more exactly like them and worse. The ones who were abused worse may have succumbed to misadventure, self-inflicted, natural, accidental causes, and or they're just too freaking scared to death to step forward. So I get it, but I'm just so grateful for every single victim that steps forward and tells their story. It's so important because they're just getting mowed over. Like they're just all focused on ENT, and you know what? They deserve to be in prison. All of them. Alex Acosta deserves prison time. Anybody involved in whoever concocted the name Sweetheart of a Deal also deserves prison time because that deal was illegal and everybody involved should get sued and or tried and convicted, in my opinion. Hello, Patricia. How are you? I watched this last night. I was thinking of Jazz when she showed us a couple of days ago. Ivanka sitting on Dumper's lap. I know Jazz was so happy that this is brought to more light. I am. I'm really happy to see other channels hitting on it. And, it's kind of like with the Kylie Rodney case. I feel like I'm at the forefront because I am just like sleuthing and digging for this stuff. And then I find it and then I share it. And then it seems like a few days later, everyone else is finding it and sharing it. And they're probably not watching my channel. I'm not saying that they are, but I definitely feel like I'm at the precipice of a lot of this information. And I really appreciate the other channels who are at the precipice of information that I'm not honed in on. But I definitely have a sixth sense of like scanning the YouTube and articles too, not just YouTube, but I have a sixth sense with the Google. Me and the Google are like besties. I know, and it's not the most reliable source. I think DuckDuckGo is probably better, but I've honestly never used DuckDuckGo. I just keep it simple. But let me highlight your comment, Patricia, and thanks for commenting, you guys. Thanks for being here. I want to buy you. I don't care, or I tried to be a member. I think I need some help. Oh, you're so. I want to buy you ICK. I don't know what that is, ICK. But yeah, I'm thinking that I should have like a wish list, because yeah, any contributions in my description, I always have the Buy Me a Coffee, the Venmo, the PayPal. There might be one other. And I always forget to mention them, but I have it on my channel description too. Let me see. Where is it? I'm just going to read to you the ones that I have so that, oh man, I can't stand the technology and the crap that it puts us through. The things that makes you look at that you're not trying to look at. Okay, so I have the Buy Me the Coffee, the Cash App, the Venmo. So I just have the three. And then I also have merch. So if you're interested in that, but I need to work on my merch thing. That's brand new. It's not very extensive yet. I need to figure it out. I need my IT crew to help me. Dang it, Nancy. Oh, I love that you're here. Did you hear me a couple of days ago saying, dang it? Where's Dang It, Nancy? Have you seen where the Statue of Liberty is actually Lucifer, the fallen angel, hence the change? There was a famous painting that is eerily similar. Thank you for pointing that out to me. I've never heard of such a thing. But while we're on the topic, I want to talk about those photographs of Donny holding Ivanka's hand when he's like squeezing her fingers. And I used it in a thumbnail recently. And she's got this giant gold chain around her neck, and she looks to me like she's about 8 years old, maybe 9. And he's at a black tie event with her. And I showed it to my 18-year-old kid who just turned 18 a few days ago. And he is so freaking savvy and sharp. He said that she looks like she's clothed in a burlap sack. Like her dress looks similar to a burlap sack, the way a slave would be dressed. And I was like, you are right. And that coupled with the chain, she's got a gold chain that's like an inch thick around her neck that really resembles the chain that you would see on a slave. And then she's got a gold belt that matches, that also resembles. It's creepy AF. So yeah, that is a wild comment, and I appreciate you for bringing that to my attention. Dang it, Nancy. And yeah, I don't know about the Statue of Liberty then, but you know that I've been in I went all the way up there. I went all the way up in the torch when I was 7 years old with my grandparents. It was freaking awesome. No, I have not seen anything about the Statue of Liberty as Lucifer. I will check it out. There's a lot of creepy stuff like that in our culture, so it wouldn't surprise me. But sometimes I think people use their imaginations too. So when you're going to have that sleuthing class, oh, Patricia, you're so cute. I just scan stuff. I just can't help it. It's kind of like my OCD or my hunting and gathering instinct. It's probably like, it's like an Easter egg hunt. I'm the same way, honestly, with like shopping for deals. Whether it's like full price new or like thrift store yard sale type of stuff, I'm really good at finding the deals. I found a desktop yesterday. I've got to share this with you guys. A $550 plus desktop, the convertible kind that ergonomic to go from sit to stand. I think it's the Lock Tech brand, and it was like brand new, and I got it for $7.50 at the Goodwill yesterday for my daughter and my husband to fight over. $7.50. A $500, like closer to $600. And, because I looked it up online. I don't think you can even look stuff up online when you're in Goodwill. Like they have it blocked so your phone can't do that. But it's like brand new. It's in mint condition. It's crazy. Like they totally undermarked it. And it was marked at $15, but it was half price yesterday, which is why I went. And I was just like, dang. Again, I have the sixth sense that like told me to go, and I did. I trust my instinct. That's the thing. And you know, sometimes when I get bored with a video, instead of trying to finish it, I just move on to the next video, which I don't like to do that because I like to try to see things from start to finish and not have a short attention span. But that helps me find what I'm looking for too. Wasn't Trump head of teen pageants as well as Miss America? Yes. Dang it, Nancy, you were on it. He was absolutely. And I have a picture that is not artificial intelligence of him French kissing what looks like a 14-year-old contestant. He's standing with a bunch of them. I think I used the standing with a bunch of them in one of my thumbnails in the last few days. It's black and white. It's old. It's probably like 40 years old. And he's standing there with all these teenagers. And there's one with long, straight brown hair right next to him that a few photographs later, he's French kissing her. And maybe I'll put that in a community post so that if you have trouble finding it, you can find it. Yeah. A lot of times I just hit these freaking jackpots of crazy stuff. But I also try to see, is it artificial intelligence? What's the choice? What's the source? Bayou Inc. Oh, I got it. That's what you were saying back there when it said ICK. Bayou Inc. That's cute. I'm out of ink. I'm jonesing for some new ink. I always forget where I heard something, but whoever it was, they were saying stuff you were saying earlier this week. Oh, Annabise, you're so sweet. I get it. I know. It's hard for me to remember where I heard things. And so that's why I try to take notes and I try to get my sources. Like some of the jokes that I was reciting recently that were mostly Josh Johnson jokes, I needed to give Stephen Colbert a little more credit because he's been hitting it hard too. LOL, is that Jesus girl still around? Probably. Where's she gonna go? And she's invading my state. This state's not big enough for the two of us. And she's from that town where like they have enough of their own trouble. She doesn't need to be going to Truckee to find trouble. Trouble will find her at her front door. We've seen the videos that she's made of that happening. Right? She's like, who called the police on me? It's like, girl, you probably called the police on yourself because you're an attention seeker. And then you're like keeping it on a video and then you're posting it. Like, OMG. Okay, I'm getting caught up. I'm going to my notes. Oh, actually, it was Midas Touch. Sorry, I spelled it wrong. I don't want to look it up. Yeah, and again, you know, some of the time I know that channels are lifting stuff off of me because it's stuff that is nowhere else. Like I won't go down other rabbit holes anyway. And then other times I think, well, they're just finding it right after I found it. I mean, you know, great minds think alike. So I don't want to act paranoid that everybody's stealing my ideas because I don't believe that everybody is, just some people sometimes. And then once it's on the internet and it spreads like wildfire, it's hard to get back to the original source anyway. And everybody thinks whoever's channel they saw it on is the original source. And that's just not the case. And that's kind of the groupthink. That's kind of the power of the crowdsourcing. That is a very positive thing because we can all propel forward with this information. And the important thing is, in my opinion, is to get this child rapist out of office, because could it be more obvious what's going on here, in my opinion? And you guys, I'm not insane, but I do need a straitjacket. The whole cover up of the e-files is a cover up of something else. And it's financial. So we'll talk more about that because that's kind of something I figured out the night before last. So after my last video, and I was just like, holy crap, Batman. Let me just spit it out so I don't forget to get back to it. Remember, I was reading you guys the whole thing off of Wikipedia about little E. So it's right there on Wikipedia I was rereading it and rereading it and rereading it, but it was while I was on live with you guys that I discovered it. And then I kept going back and reading it some more because, you know, you got to think, well, like how much of this is my opinion and my slant? So basically in the Wikipedia thing, they're outlining how much little E had to do with the destruction of the American economy in 2008. And then this was what I thought of after the video, you guys. 2008 was the same time of the sweetheart, disgusting, illegal deal. Not a coincidence. So even then, they were prosecuting him, in my opinion, to distract from his involvement with the economy crashing, because his involvement doesn't just implicate him, it implicates the countries that he was an operative for, and it implicates his best friend. His best friend back then is a transactional guy. He's not going to be hanging out with Jeffrey just because they have fun together. It's going to be for transactions. I believe that those transactions were trafficking girls, probably males as well, but a lot of Brothers in Arms, I think, was a title of someone's video that I saw recently, were Jeffrey and Donny brothers in arms. I can't remember whose video that was, but we could look it up. I didn't watch it, but I was like, yeah, they're right on the same wavelength that I'm on. That was, I think, a video somebody made 4 days ago. And yeah, Midas is lifting, but they're also hitting it out of the ballpark. So it's like, I don't want to be critical, but I do want them. I mean, they're so freaking big. They have 5 million subscribers. Like, they should give shout outs to the tiny channels that they think are doing a good job, especially if they're lifting ideas from them. Give me an effing break. Give me an effing break. Like, that's just disgusting. But, you know, these are all dudes too. Like, I mean, there's hardly any females on Midas. There's maybe 2, and they probably have 10 male contributors, and a lot of the world is like that, and YouTube is like that, and it's messed up because, you know, the women are smarter, to quote the Grateful Dead. And Rosie's insights, and I've had it prove that, completely prove it, in my opinion. Okay, it was Midas Touch. Don't want to look it up. Spelled it wrong. Okay. A short on Sunday Cool Teas title Statue of Liberty is, oh, thank you, dang it, Nancy. I'm going to pull out my notebook and write that down, which will also get my notebook open that I keep saying I'm going to start looking at my notes. Because I gotta get all this stuff in one video. I can't keep saying, well, I'll do it in the next video. That's ridiculous. Like I said, even if it's 4 years long. So buckle in, baby. Buckle up, Buttercup. And did I replace the pinned message? Sunday Cool Teas. And Statue of Liberty. Okay. So yeah, Katie Johnson is the name of the model who interviewed with Savannah Guthrie. It was years ago, and it was on the Today Show. And then that video footage was circulating the streets of YouTube a lot, like a week ago. And it's really hard to find it. Weird, huh? Weird. Freaking YouTube. And so let me just read everything that's up there now and then get to my notes, because otherwise I just keep not getting to my notes. Let's see. I've been looking to see if you had a video on your opinion of BK and the rabbit hole thickens. I think it's all crap. I just can't. I'm so sick of that crap. And maybe I'm wrong, but I really do think that the whole thing is bullshit. I think that Dylan and Jack D. I'm so suspicious of so many people. Bethany, Small Fry, the freaking president of the freaking college, Coomer Scott Green. Give me an effing break. Yeah, I just think it's complete bull crap. And yeah, he definitely looks psycho. So it's working out well for them to pin it all on him and all of the YouTubers. The only YouTuber that I've seen that hasn't jumped on that freaking bandwagon is Jules of All Trades. And for that, we can thank her. Even if she's incorrect, it's still just good to question things. But no, I am totally in her camp. Or I'm in my own camp. She and I don't agree on everything by far. But yeah. Midas is lifting. They were talking about Ivana's suspicious death the day after you. I know. And then I heard somebody talking about it today. And yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, they are talking about stuff that I talked about weeks ago and months ago. And then they act like it's brand new. And it's just like, please, if you got it from my channel, please just mention the name of my channel or call me up and have me be a guest on your channel. I mean, that would be great. You never know. Yes, Patricia, that's the one I was talking about. Nancy, what camp are you in about BK? I'm in the he's innocent, or at least there's no proof of it. See, and I'm in the if he had anything to do with it, it's because he worked for the police department. That's the camp I live at. That it might have been a big operation that they ended up hanging him out to dry on. I think that's very likely, that it was like a basic rug sting operation. Love Midas. Yeah, again, I love that they spread a lot of good and that they have such a long reach, so that's good. And I am as well. I don't think we've seen the end of this yet. Seeing Olivia was mind-blowing too. I know I haven't even been able to watch her. Something about her bugs the F out of me. And how Katie's actually alive and if the family is going to return all the money for travel. So Katie, you probably mean Kaylee. You got to think about like Little E Island and the Zorro Ranch and the place in Albany, Ohio, New Albany, and the mansion in Manhattan. They all have tunnels, meaning they use those for people. So one of the most disgusting things about Ghislaine and her involvement in this whole thing is that when they would fly these young girls down to Little Ease Island, which the Virgin Islands is a U.S. territory, but they still needed a passport to get there, she would steal their freaking passports, you guys. Those girls were trapped on that island. And, you didn't need to be trapped on an island to be trapped by them. Maria Farmer was trapped in the house in Little E's house in New Albany on the farm. She was absolutely trapped when she was attacked by them and tried to get away. And she pushed furniture up against the door and called 911. And her little sister was trapped like that in Zorro Ranch when she was attacked by the two of them. But then you take these people to an island that's out of the continental US and you don't allow them access to their passport. That's pretty sick stuff. And then how many of them would just get disappeared, never to be seen again, if they didn't have a family that they were really well connected to. And this is back in the days before cell phones and everything. You got to think about a lot of these crimes happened like 30 years ago. If it happened in like 1995, that would be 30 years ago. So the things that Annie and Maria Farmer reported back then, it was about 30 years ago. And they're still trying to get justice, and they're still trying to move on. But then imagine having your abuser become the president and use his freaking Truth Social platform to tell lies about you and to try to destroy you. Yes, they should message you. They should have you on. May I work on that? Absolutely, Patricia. You're a sweetheart. Thank you. Absolutely. Because, yeah, I mean, I think one of my best qualities is that I'm not polished. I don't try to be polished. I mean, I try to be a little bit polished, so I'm not, I don't have like spinach in my teeth, hopefully, most of the time. But I just try to keep it real because those are the channels that I like the most. Like Boston Brian and Hal Sparks. I love those guys. Absolutely love them. And, channels like Rosie's Insights or that one with all the makeup, Bailey Syrian. I mean, makeup to me is not my thing, but that's their art form and that's what relaxes them. Just like for me, the colors and the lights are my art form and what relax me in jewelry. And you guys, so just in cement, I don't know what that means. Just in comment. Oh, yeah. Just in comment. Sure. Absolutely. I think that you could be very right about the law enforcement probably did it. Well, what I've learned is that if law enforcement are letting people get away with stuff, then that means they're a part of it. So if they're getting paid off to turn a blind eye, they're involved. That's a lot of what was going on in Florida too, in West Palm Beach. But there was also a lot of tension because there were some people, I believe, in the sheriff's department in Palm Beach that wanted to do the right thing. So then it gets very dicey and it's heinous. In the comment section on their channel, that's so sweet of you, Patricia. Thank you. It does look like two different BKs. And who goes in a courtroom and starts moving podiums? Normally that's considered disrespect to the judge, right? But they're trying to portray him as a lunatic so that he has zero social standing, or what's the word I'm looking for? Clout. He has zero social clout. Like nobody has an ounce of trust in him. That's what they're going for. I think that's why they started the whole thing with the incel stuff before they arrested him. And then, after they arrested him, then immediately they started with the vegan stuff. I give at least 3 to 5 comments a day on their channel. Let me drop my phone. Let me let Coco out real quick. Hey, baby girl. You want to go see your girl? Okay. And I've got so many notes. Why don't I just kind of run through them quickly? We know that Donny Two Dolls fled the country over the weekend, and October 10th, 89, 37 years old. Oh, you guys. Okay, so you've heard the story about Ivana saying that she was assaulted by Donny right before their divorce was final. If you'd heard her talk about that story, or you've heard Michael Bloom talk about that story. And then there's another author, Harry Hunt. In 93, he published a book called The Lost Tycoon, The Many Lives of DT. I won't say his whole name. So October 10th of 1989, a 37-year-old named Mark Grossinger Ettis, E-T-E-S-S, passed away in a helicopter accident. 37 years old. He was one of the vice presidents of the Taj Mahal, Donny Two Dolls in Atlantic City. Mark Grossinger Ettis. So Mark Grossinger Ettis's wife was traveling, Lauren, was traveling with Ivana the day after she was assaulted by Two Dolls on her bed. And he pulled out her hair, and the bed was covered with her hair, and it was just an awful, awful, hideous nightmare. And then she made a public comment saying, "That's not what I meant. He didn't arm me. It just, don't take that literal. It wasn't a criminal act, blah, 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 whatever." Okay. Obviously he threatened her, and look where she is now, literally 6 feet under on his golf course. Gross. So, now there's an arena in Atlantic City named after Mark Ettis. So Mark Ettis was on that airplane with 4 other people. 2 of those other people were crew members, and 2 of those other people were also vice presidents for the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. They all passed away. And let's see, the Taj Mahal closed October 10th, 2016. Interesting. That would be right before the election, less than a month before the election, 2016. And Taj Mahal going bankrupt didn't just bankrupt Taj Mahal, it bankrupted the entire Atlantic City, which was pretty prosperous to my understanding, and it's been a ghost town ever since. I think SG is the one who moved the podium. Oh, that's funny, Annabise. Thank you for that. Yeah, who does that? I mean, it's one thing if you're making it higher or lower, or if that's why you're moving it, but if you just like want it over here or you want it over there, that's insane. Olivia will probably be his biggest fan and visitor. Taking that as a sarcastic, dang it, Nancy. But yeah, I'm curious if you want to give more of a background of what you mean by that. I'm intrigued. Okay, so yeah, I'd heard Ivana tell that story, or Harry Hurt, or Michael Wolff tell that story that Ivana told them about being attacked on her bed when she was in her room getting ready for, I think it was a trip to, I want to say Tahiti. I think it was a trip to one of the Tahitian islands with her dear friend Lauren Ettis, or Etris. I think it's E-T-E-S-S. Yeah, Ettis. So, and she just they mentioned real quickly that Lauren, the reason that Ivana was taking this trip with her was because she was going through the divorce, and because Lauren was dealing with the recent loss of her husband. So then I caught Harry Hurt saying something about a helicopter crash, and I was like, wait, what? Rewind. So I looked up who this Mark Ettis is, and lo and behold, the other 3 of the people that passed away in that helicopter crash that weren't crew members, they were all VPs for the Taj Mahal. And I think I have all their names. Let me see. It might be the Stephen Hyde. But it gets way worse. And Jonathan Benanav, Benanav, vice president in charge of non-casino operations. And then there was this other VP who's still alive, a female named Barbara Rez. I think that's her last name, R-E-S. So she's an ex-employee who told this story that I'm about to get to. She was the VP of construction, and she's a lawyer, and she had this weird quote about being all alone on the 68th floor. She wrote a book, I think, called All Alone on the 68th Floor. And is the whole title of the book All Alone on the 68th Floor from New York to Atlantic City? Anyway, Barbara Rez's story is that when she waited 20 years before she came out with this story. And I don't know how long she worked there. Obviously, if the place closed in 2016, she could have worked there that long, and that would have been from, it happened in 89. So let's just go 20 years. If you add 20 to 89, that would be like 2009, right? So maybe she worked there. Anyway, 20 years later. So maybe around 2009 was when The Independent published a story about it. Barbara Rez told this story that they published in The Independent. I'll put a link in the description. That Trumpster Fire lied and said that he almost boarded the helicopter with them. And he, in her company, the same day that these 3 people lost their lives, one of them was a father of 7. Stephen Hyde was a father of 7. He was the mastermind behind the Taj Mahal. Mark Edis obviously had a wife, and then Jonathan Benanav, I'm not sure. But anyway, he said, Trumpster Fire said that he almost was on that flight, but for some odd reason at the very last minute, he didn't go. And he intentionally was trying to steal the thunder of the 3 people that passed away, that lost their lives. And he was trying to make it a publicity stunt to get like the front page the next day. That's how this MF works. So I don't know how long it was before the family members learned that that was a MF lie, but who in the F does that? And as president, because we know he still does that kind of crap. So one of the other things that he lied about was that he was among the very first of the first responders to 9/11 when the Twin Towers went down. Well, that's weird. What was he, a firefighter? A cop? A medic? He was one of the very first of the first responders to arrive to the terrorist attack in his hometown. He wasn't. And who the F knows what his story is, but why would he tell people that? And why would he think that people are going to go, oh, okay, yeah, Donny was a first responder. And the sick freak can't freaking tie his shoes. And he has a muffin top on his shoes. So give me a break. I mean, I'm just like ready to hurl. I can't believe he's in the position that he's in. Like, how the F did this happen? But more importantly, how do we get it to stop? How the F do we get it to come to a screeching halt? The man commits the T word, in my opinion, all the time. And then he goes and tries to accuse Obama of doing that. When we all know the punishment for the T word, it's no joking matter. It's no joking matter. You don't mess around with that. But he has compromised the safety of our country. He has assisted our enemies. That's the definition of that T word that I don't even want to say. Melania doesn't even want anything to do with him. She holds all the secrets, right? And she was a little e-girl. She was a mail order bride, in my opinion. I've kind of thrown that around figuratively, but I think that it's more literal than we'll ever know. For sure, Melanoma knows a lot. I like that nickname. And what does Ivanka know? What do all the kids know about their mother passing away the day before these 3 big scary depositions that were going to be a week long were supposed to start? Because there was another big scary lawsuit that Donny Toodles was involved in, where something really drastic happened the day before a deposition was supposed to start, and then it never started. The whole thing got sidelined, which I'm sure is what he was hoping for with what resulted in the 34 felonies that he's been charged with. So I hold his 3, 4, 5 kids accountable too, but especially the ones whose biological mother is buried in his golf course, because why don't they do anything about that? But then I have to remember, if he's really a CLUT leader, that's how these leaders roll. And I think he really is a CULT leader. I really do. I love your enthusiasm and vibrant spirit. It's so contagious. Well, thank you. Dang it, Nancy. I'm not even trying. I'm letting it rip. I'm just showing. This is why I just like to be myself, because, you just gotta just be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. That's what my mom used to say. So thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, you're so sweet, Anna Bees. Because, I'm sure sometimes I'm really annoying. I have to admit that I know my family gets really annoyed with me talking about this stuff all the time. And I'm like, well, you know what? Then F you. I'm going to go talk to my people online. Seriously, I don't say F you, but I'm just like, well, you should be interested because it's your country that's going down the tubes. And some of my family is very interested, so I won't tell you which is which. But you might be able to figure it out because the women are smarter. Come here, baby. Come here, Coco. Cheese. Hey, here. Oh, did you see the cheese ball? Come here, Cheese. Oh, you're so cute. They're so cute. Come here, little girl. Come here, you little monkey orangutan thing. Okay. So I've gotten through most of this whole page. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. This whole thing about this helicopter going down with 3 of his VPs on it. You would think he would have been destroyed, right? But this was 27 years before it closed. So what kind of secrets did they know that he exposed them to? And then, in my opinion, he very well might have had that helicopter sabotaged. And I obviously think that that's quite a possibility, or I wouldn't even be bringing it up, because there's no such thing as coincidence. Let's see. Oh, and Nancy, I agree with you on 2 BKs. The one who pleaded guilty. I always want to say pleaded guilty is not the one in the courtroom for sentencing. That's wild, you guys. That is so effing wild. I got to check this out. Because, one of them is really ghostly ugly, and the other one almost looks like JFK Jr., huh? I mean, I'm not even paying attention, but yeah. Crazy. So I'm eating my blueberry rose yogurt. And look up rose if you're not familiar with it. It's supposed to have a lot of great medicinal benefits. I never knew. Anna, so it's official. We're not crazy. No, we are not crazy, Nancy. I was going to say, no, we are crazy. LOL. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that video. Trump should just always have his Superman outfit on. He's just so wonderful. Well, those freaking memes that he posts of himself with all the muscles and stuff is so freaking delusional. Like, he never looked like that, even at his fittest. Too many Big Macs will do that to you. And I will admit, I love a Big Mac. I do. Especially with the fries. You have to have it with the fries, right? And back when I used to drink Coca-Cola, that was my drink of choice. Always the Coke. Once in a while, Sprite or 7-Up. But man, Coke was it. The real thing, right? Dang it, Nancy. I'm telling you, Jazz has got the 411. Where are your OGs for life? We are your OGs for life. You are the sweetest folks. You're not trying to trick me, are you? We don't think you're annoying. Oh, sometimes I think I'm annoying. But for the most part, I try not to judge myself or other people. I just try to live and let live. For sure, we are here for life. Melania, possibly a yacht girl, it is a global thing. So yeah, I mean, the Idaho 4 are yacht girls. I mean, I don't know about people in Truckee, but if anyone in Truckee's a yacht girl, I'd say Scammy would be a yacht girl, huh? But yeah, especially the crossover of Bethany Funk, that she went to Truckee High School for a year. She lived in Reno, and her and Dylan and the victims of that tragedy, and even Ethan. You don't have to be female to be a yacht girl, to be a yacht guy. I mean, that's a thing too. I mean, it's sort of like the Abercrombie and Fitch models or the Victoria's Secret models. Those are all the yacht type, right? I mean, that's what that is. What's sad is to think is she knew what was happening with Ivanka. Too intelligent to fall down the stairs. Well, and I just don't believe the stuff about that she had bad hips or knees or any issues with balance or drinking. I don't believe any of that because she was loaded. She was rich AF. And if there were any issues like that, she would have had people around her to take care of that. And her kids would have made sure she had people around her to take care of that. Her assistants would have made sure that there were people around her to take care of that. But how many assistants did she have in the house that day when she allegedly fell down the stairs, passed away from heart attack, contusions, injuries consistent with getting beaten? I mean, falling down the stairs. It was injuries to her torso. So I'm sorry, but if you fall down the stairs, aren't you going to have more injuries to your head and shoulders and maybe even your butt, your tailbone and knees? How are you going to get the injuries to your torso unless there's something that you fell on that's sticking out? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm no nurse. Annabise, do you want to chime in? But yeah, I definitely think she had too much money to just simply fall down the stairs. And then to think that she knew what was happening with her daughter. Wow. Again, it's like if they're all under this cult spell. Because yeah, there's a lot about Ivana that I really like and respect. And maybe I shouldn't. I mean, it sounds like she knew exactly what Ghislaine was doing. Right? I mean, gross. But then look at the country that she came from, where and she escaped. So she was one of the lucky ones to be in a trafficking world rather than to be back in Czechoslovakia, or what used to be Czechoslovakia. But see, her dad was also in that whole, being an operative or an agent for either the KGB or the ISB or whatever it is that's like it for the other countries. And yeah, she was together with Donny from 87 to 90. Their divorce might have taken a while to get finalized, but yeah, he can't even remember when he was married to her or Marla. I was listening last night to 2 depositions that came into my feed. One of the depositions was from the E. Jean Carroll case, and then the other deposition was from another case. E. Jean Carroll's attorney was freaking amazing. Absolutely amazing. But they both were. I mean, you have to be ready to play hardball and get your boxing gloves on to go toe to toe with this guy, because he's freaking crazy and he's relentless and he won't stop. Melania is scared. She doesn't want to end up like Ivana. I really believe that. I do too, Patricia, but I also think she's a sack of crap for letting it go this far. I mean, yeah, we can say that if he's a cult leader, then all these people are his victims. But where does the buck stop? I love McDonald's fries. They're the best. I know. Well, remember when they used to blanch them in beef broth, and then they got in so much trouble, all the vegetarians sued them for bazillions of dollars for that. And they're not as good, but they're still really good. My daughter-in-law is British, asking my son if we can take YouTube away from her, me, and I conspiracies. Don't you love it when we're proven right? Yes. Well, I always say it's not a conspiracy theory if it's actually happening. And all it takes for something to be a conspiracy is that somebody spoke to someone else about it before they did it, basically, like in its simplest sense. Yes, one's hair is lighter, and they said he stopped using coffee to dye his hair. Please. Yeah, who in the world would stop using coffee? No, I'm just kidding. I do love it, Nancy. My kids think I'm crazy. LOL. Well, see, the thing is like, I'll admit, my husband gets very annoyed with me, and I get annoyed with him. So sometimes we just don't talk. 35 years in, that's as good as it gets. But the thing that's even more annoying is that I know he's very proud of me, and that when something's going on and people are like, oh, did you know, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, yeah, my wife was on that a year ago, So it's like, well, then give credit where credit's due when it's due, not just when you're trying to have bragging rights down the road. But, again, 35 years, it's... It ain't easy, right? What? I-4 yacht girls? Patricia, you must be sarcastic. We've seen the photos of Kaylee on the yacht. In fact, that was like the very first community post I ever made, was the one that's taken below her on a ladder on a yacht while she was walking up in her bikini, and her disgusting boyfriend made those disgusting comments. That was my very first community post ever. At the time, I didn't even know what a yacht girl was. I'd never heard of it. I mean, it's obvious that she's on a yacht, and it says something in her post like, my last day in Hawaii, or Hawaii, are you going to miss me? Yes, Nancy, the one who pled guilty had a tan, right? And a nice fade haircut. Oh, yeah. The fade haircut. I remember Crime Circus Cult talking about the fade haircut. The one who was, and the tan. The one who was sentenced was pasty white with dark circles under his eyes, and not a nice haircut. I'm sure Melania is very afraid of ending up like Ivana. Well, yeah, or getting Epsteined, or getting Gouffreyed. I mean, that can be a thing now too. But basically, Gouffrey got Epsteined. So, you know, there's always the off chance that Epstein didn't do it to himself and nobody did it to him, but that the 3 minutes taken out of the video was for other stuff going in and going out. Right? I mean, he's a billionaire. I mean, he is an operative for the country that begins with an I, the country that begins with an R, and the country, not SA like an assault, but the country that starts with S, and the second word of the country is A, and then it ends with an A. He was an operative for all three of those. And then I don't know if he was an operative for the US also, but he was definitely an operative for all three of those, in my opinion. So him being not Epstein would make perfect sense, but that's not what I believe. I believe he was Epstein. But I think that there's people who believe that he pulled a Brian Laundrie. He was Brian Laundried, right? Patricia, I was thinking the same thing, but she has things to bury him. Well, man, she has put up with so much humiliation from him. She probably would like to bury him in a literal sense. Excuse me. And he is 79 years old. I mean, just like Little E's attorney, Ron Black, who just up and dropped deceased a week ago tomorrow. Like, yeah, he was 80 years old, but the timing is sus AF. So is the timing of Hulk Hogan. I forget his real name. It's like Paul something. Is it Paul Hogan? And then who else passed away last week? Ozzy, and probably one or two others that I'm not even thinking of. Like all in 5 days. It's sort of like all the helicopters crashing at the same time or within a day or two of each other. I mean, yeah, things can happen in threes, but that's just too many things to happen in threes. Hey, little girl. Hey, little hairball. Cheesy. Chi-Chi. Come here. Come here. Oh, you're so cute. She's like, do you have food? All I care about is food. And I do. I have the yogurt. I forgot. Let's see. I'm so happy to hear your kids think you're a bit crazy. Makes me know I'm not alone. Well, and you know, our kids are going to be annoyed with us no matter what. That's part of the design of being a kid and being the mom. Like, if we weren't interested in this stuff, they'd be annoyed with us for other stuff, right? It's always something with them. It's just part of the separation process. Yeah, we'll never know. To gang and rug related to cash train big to stop. Yeah. So the money fiasco, I think that the 08 crash was intentional to crash and burn our economy so that Vladdy and the others from those other countries that I mentioned could basically take over. And I wonder if all three of those countries are not just like one big entity that I'm just not even aware of. That wouldn't surprise me in the least. And I think that ever since Donny Toodles has been in office this time around, he's been obvious in his intention to crash and burn our country. And I think that the motive is so that Vladdy can take it over. Maybe I'm out in left field. Let's hope, right? No, I honestly didn't know that about 14 yacht girls. Oh, are you talking about Idaho 4 or 14-year-old yacht girls? Now you got me thinking, Patricia Moss. I don't know if you mean Idaho 4 yacht girls, but yeah, I mean, basically that's what all of these victims become. And yeah, when they're underage, it's even worse. And then in some ways, it's even worse for the ones that are older because they have more trouble getting a legal leverage because it's like, well, you were 22. How come you didn't just run? That's on you. And it's like, it's not that easy. Oh, don't get us started on your hot husband. Dang it, Nancy, you're so cute. You can have him. No, I'm just kidding. We have our 33-year wedding anniversary coming up and 35 years together. It's crazy. We met in 90. We got married in 92. I think I did my math right? And yes, he's a sweetheart. I got lucky. I got to consider myself really lucky because some of it is like skill, I think, in choosing a good partner. And then some of it's just a crapshoot that they're not Ted Bundy disguised as a nice person. Come here, baby. Come here. Oh, look at this little girl. Look, this little pile of fur with the Gumby bell-bottom legs. Yeah, you can just call him Hottie Cop, right? That can be his nickname. That's been his nickname now and then. So we'll just leave it at that. And yeah, guys in uniform, there's always going to be the badge bunnies. They always got that going for them. I think it's part of, for some guys, it's the whole reason they want to be in uniform. And for other guys, it's just part of it. But yeah, a lot of them think they're much hotter than they are. Yeah, with his cool sunglasses. Oh yeah, his Christian Slater Polaroid sunglasses. Malcolm Jamal Warner. Yes, I know that name. He is let me look that up because I'm completely drawing a blank. I know it's been a thing lately. And my phone fell on the floor. But let's see. Where? Totally drawing me a blank. How come Malcolm Jamal Warner? Oh, right. So was he the guy that was on the Cosby Show? Is that him? Yeah, I think so. So he drowned on the family vacation. He had endless curiosity. We know what curiosity did to the cat. That's the top story. The first thing that comes up. Malcolm Jamal Warner remembered for his quote, endless curiosity. That'll get you in trouble right there. Hey, babies, what's up? What's up? Come on. Coco, you're all right. Oh, you guys, you're so cute. Let's see. Just saying, sizzling, so cute. I didn't know hookup meant the actual act, Yacht Girls and OF. Did you see the video where they saw little E on his island driving an ATV and tried to hide? I heard about it, Nancy. Do you think it's authentic or do you think it's crap? And where did you see it? Because it was my sister that saw it, and sometimes she gets duped by the internet stuff a little too easy. Like an old person. Sometimes I forget that about children. Sometimes I get hurt by them not understanding. Sometimes I take it too seriously. I know they are hurtful AF, aren't they? I know. I have to remember that when I was 16, I was so hurtful to my mom. And even, not that long before she died, I was still hurtful to her. I hate myself for it. But she was so awesome that she understood. Like, even if it hurt her feelings, she probably understood. But man, I was just horrible sometimes. Sometimes I get hurt by them. Yeah. I mean, you only hurt the ones you love, right? Yes. Idaho Yacht Girls, first time hearing that. Oh, really, Patricia? Yeah, I think the Idaho case is the first time I heard Yacht Girls, just like Trinity Backus's case was the first time I heard OnlyFans. And then, with like with Donny Two Dolls and Little E, they had like the beauty pageant, so they could just say people are contestants. What cracks me up about Donny Two Dolls is like his lawyer who looks like a yacht girl. I think she's getting fired. That was it, Elena Haba. It's the funniest name, Elena Haba Baba. And man, she was such an idiot representing him in that deposition with E. Jean Carroll's attorney. When the attorney shows him a picture of himself, E. Jean Carroll, her husband, and Ivana standing next to him, and he points at E. Jean Carroll and he says, "That's my wife." And the attorney's like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Yeah, Marla, that's her right there." And it's like Ivana's in the picture and he doesn't even notice her. And he tried to say that E. Jean Carroll is not his type. He said that so many times. Freaking pig. Anyway, the whole time his lawyer's sitting right next to him. It was Elena Haba. And she finally like puts her hand in the frame and is like, "That's your wife, Ivana, you idiot. Snap out of it. Pay attention. You're making yourself look bad. You're making me look bad." But she's so stupid that she let it get that far because a good lawyer would have intervened earlier. So for that, we can thank her. Because depositions are considered part of the transcript for the court. I mean, that's all fact. That is all fact. So yeah, I'm curious, dang it, Nancy, if you know where you saw that, I would like to check that out. And was it Little E on his island driving an ATV the day after he was Epstein? Is that when it was allegedly? Idaho Yacht Girls, which is why I will never date again, Annabees. He was on the Cosby Show. Yeah. He was the third one who passed away last week. Oh, thank you, Annabees. Right. And again, timing is everything. So, but there was the fourth one. Okay, the third of four, because we had Ozzy, we had Hulk Hogan, and then we had Ron Black, the attorney for Little E. I was hurtful to my mom too. I know my kids can be so hurtful to me. Even the girls. The boys especially. They are just brats, man. Dang it, Nancy. He's definitely alive. Too much money. I mean, if Brian Laundrie can do it, that's funny. Dang it, Nancy. I thought that for the longest time. It was only maybe 2 years ago or less that I had my mind changed by information that yeah, he was just too dangerous to too many people. But yeah, you could absolutely be accurate. Me as well, even after her death. Yeah, I know. I've been very, very kind to my mom since her passing. We had a turbulent relationship, and so many parents and children do have turbulent relationships. And yeah, imagine if, let's just say that Donny Two Dolls abused his children like a cult leader abuses their kids, and abused his wife the way a cult leader abuses their wife. And so Ivana knew, but she didn't intervene, that she just kind of disassociated. It would make more sense why they're not fighting for her, basically. Fighting for her integrity and her justice. It's just so vile. And hopefully I'm just completely wrong and my theories are just all conspiracy theories. Let me say that. Because wouldn't that be nice if our dear leader was actually not a what he looks like he is, what it seems to be getting proven that he is. And then I love it when he runs and hides and has Mikey Johnson cancel the government, because yeah, that doesn't make you look guilty as sin. Just get the H out of Dodge. Oh, so I looked up the other day what countries don't extradite, and 20 of them came up on the Google. And the ones that I remember off the top of my head were some that Donny Two Dolls is really tight with, like the one that starts with an R, where Vladdy is. China, North Korea, Saudi Arabia, Belarus. I want to say the one that starts with an I, but now I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. I don't think that's accurate. Let me see. Did I take a screenshot of it? I probably did, but it might be on my laptop rather than my phone. Let me see. Oh, and this was interesting. Remember the other day I said something about, oh, I did take it. Okay. Indonesia? Qatar. That's the one I was looking for. Qatar. So yeah, I'll read what it the whole list if you want me to. I'll read it um, from the end to the beginning. So Bhutan, Armenia, Afghanistan, North Korea, Nepal, Morocco, sorry, Morocco, Kuwait, Uganda, Brunei, I'm not saying that one right. Saudi Arabia, Cambodia, Belarus, Vanuatu, UAE, Moldova, Indonesia, Ethiopia, Cuba, Russia, Iran, Vietnam, Qatar, Montenegro, and China. So those are the safe places to go if you want to do a Stanley Kubrick. Isn't that the guy? No, Roman Polanski. Sorry, Stanley. Don't mean to drag your name through the mud, although you did do the Eyes Wide Shut, right? I never saw that. I probably should, but I don't know. You can't unsee it, right? Roman Polanski raped a 13-year-old, I think was the age, and then he hid out in one of those countries for decades. And he was married to Sharon Tate, right? When she got Mansoned. Oh, yay, Jazzy going to read to us. Too funny. Let me get caught up, and I will read, actually. There's some stuff I wanted to reread. And then I want to read the stuff about the victims that I never did get to the day before yesterday. Annie Farmer, Maria Farmer, and Sarah Ransom. And there's so many other fabulous survivors. Let's call them survivors, not victims. So many other fabulous survivors that I'll want to be covering too. Let's see. No wonder Ivanka always has that resting beach face around her father. Oh man, I've got the best photograph of her. I don't know if I have it on my phone where I can show it to you quickly. Let's see. I might. Oh yeah, I do. You're gonna love it. This is pretty recent. You are gonna love it. Got to get the lighting right. Okay. Sorry. You can see he's got that look on his face that says, I'm the biggest schmuck in the world. And then she's got her hand up like this, like she's shielding herself from having to look at him. And she looks like she just wants to melt right into the chair she's sitting in. Does she not? I love that. I'm so happy I could find it for you. Like that. Let's see. The things that he has said in public being recorded are extremely creepy. Yeah. I think he has this theory. I think I got this from another channel, and let's just say it's Midas Touch. Let me kick them some credit. He has this theory that if he says it out loud and if he's blatantly obvious, that then he's being like transparent, and then it's like acceptable, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't matter how effing creepy it is. It's disgusting. And it's nuts. It's like total double think, double speak. So much of this crap is. I mean, we are just getting gaslit as a nation, we're getting gaslit a million times a day. Thanks to Caroline with the KKK, Bamala Pondy, like a Ponzi scheme. Christy Gnome, like a gnome, more like a troll. We should start calling her Christy Troll, huh? Freaking puppy killing troll. She's like the troll under the bridge that eats the billy goats, right? She's so gross. Am I just like tearing through these people? They're disgusting. They are so disgusting. Nobody's as disgusting as freaking Alan Dershowitz. Okay, now get on with it. He's so gross. And he's such a freaking criminal, guiltier than sin, and he's still an attorney. And he probably had more to do with Epstein getting Epsteined and Virginia getting Epsteined than will ever be revealed. Love it when you read to us about Ivanka. Okay, so there was some more stuff I wanted to read to you. Some of it I saw on my phone, and it was just like a reread of some of that most important stuff from the last video. So let me start there. Part of Little E's mystique is how... Oh, actually, no, this isn't what I read to you. That is, though. But I'll read this page first that I just started. This is from an official transcript of the proceedings. I'm not even sure. I'll find it and put it in the link in the description. Part of Epstein's mystique is how little we've heard directly from Little E himself over the years. Though he had appeared in newspapers for various reasons, rarely was he the direct subject of the story before the early 2000s. Two of the earliest profiles on Little E came in 2002 and 2003 under alluring titles. These are going to kill you. This is why I screenshot this, because I just said this a couple days ago. Alluring titles such as, quote, Jeffrey E., International Money Man of Mystery, and, quote, the talented Mr. Epstein. Remember when I was talking about him playing the piano just the day before yesterday, and I said all of a sudden I'm like having visions of the talented Mr. Ripley? If you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. Now, more of the puzzle surrounding Little E's opaque past was filled in this week with the release of a 1981 deposition transcript in which Little E was questioned by the Securities and Exchange Commission as part of an insider trading investigation into Bear Stearns. Here's what we learned. So Bear Stearns was who he worked for, I think up until about 2005. But Bear Stearns, he did things with them that led to their collapse in 2008. And their collapse is part of what led to Lehman Brothers collapse, which is what led to the whole U.S. financial crisis and really a global financial crisis. So I'm going to reread these two pages that I screenshot out of the Wikipedia, because this was from Little E's Wikipedia. And I think that this is the most key part. This is the part that is under career, and it's under the part investment banking or something like that. But the paragraph starts with, in August 2006, Little E, a month after the federal investigation of him began. Oh my God, you guys, I'm so glad I'm reading this to you. Are you ready? A month after, and rereading it, because I think I caught it in my video the day before yesterday. I think I remember catching it and saying, wait a second, and reading it again. This is the part I reread like 10 times. Because I'm like, wait, what? And then I'd think about it and I'd read it again. Like, am I reading into that? A month after the federal investigation of him began, Little E invested $57 million in the Bear Stearns high-grade structured credit strategies enhanced leverage hedge fund. This fund was highly leveraged in mortgage-backed collateralized debt obligations, CDOs. On April 18th, 2007, an investor in the fund who had $57 million invested, discussed redeeming his investment. Even Wikipedia is protecting him. An investor in the fund who had the exact same amount that they just mentioned that he had invested. Who else had exactly that amount? Discussed redeeming his investment. At this time, the fund had a leverage ratio of 17-1, which meant for every dollar invested, there were $17 of borrowed funds. Therefore, the redemption of this investment would have been equivalent to removing $1 billion from the thinly traded CDO market. The selling of CDO assets, again, that's collateralized debt obligations. And think about who his best friend is or was, because this is 07. And so supposedly they weren't friends anymore. But they'd been doing this for years. He'd been doing this for years while he was best friends with someone that we all know is a world leader, a dear leader at that, our dear leader. Therefore, the redemption of this investment would have been equivalent to removing $1 billion from the thinly traded CDO market. The selling of CDO assets to meet the redemptions that month began a repricing process and general freeze in the CDO market. The repricing of the CDO assets caused the collapse of the fund 3 months later in July. So again, this is July of 07. And the eventual collapse of Bear Stearns in March of 08. It is likely little E lost most of this investment, but it is not known how much was his. By the time the Bear Stearns fund began to fail in May 07, little E had begun to negotiate a plea deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office concerning imminent charges for wrecks with minors. In August 07, a month after the fund collapsed, the U.S. Attorney in Miami, Alexander Acosta, besties with Trumpster Fire, entered into direct discussions about the plea agreement. Acosta brokered a lenient deal, illegal deal. According to him, he called it a lenient deal. It's like, no, it was a criminal deal, because he had been ordered by higher government officials. Let me just say this. It doesn't matter if you're ordered by your boss to do something illegal. It's still on you. You will go to jail for it. It's your own person. You have autonomy. You can decide whether you're going to break the law or not. And if you don't know that you're breaking the law, you're still breaking the law. So when you have a highfalutin job like that, it is on you to know the law and know your job. And if you're instructed to do something illegal, to say hell no. I mean, it happens all the time. All the time. So his excuse for brokering an illegal deal, according to him, was because he'd been ordered by higher government officials who told him that little E was an individual of importance to the government. As part of the negotiations, according to the Miami Herald, little E provided, this is good, quote, unspecified information, end quote, to the Florida federal prosecutors for a more lenient sentence, and was supposedly an unnamed key witness for the New York federal prosecutors in their unsuccessful June 2008 criminal case against the two managers of the failed Bear Stearns hedge fund. Alan Dershowitz, one of little E's Florida attorneys on the case, told Fox Business Network, quote, "We would have been touting that if he had cooperated. The idea that little E helped in any prosecution is news to me." Give me an effing break, you lying sack of crap. That's all I have to say. Now, what say you? And yeah, I think there was more that I wanted to read to you about the survivors. So let's get to that. But I see some really good comments up here. About Ivanka, they have X in common. That is the craziest, most disgusting thing. And yeah, how anybody let that slide, she should have punched him in the face. She should have just stood up and punched him in the face. Or, you know what, better yet, just spit in his eye. She should have just gotten a loogie and hawked it right in his freaking eye. And walked off the stage. I'm sure everybody would have clapped. Yay! Dang it, Nancy. Oh, crap. LOL. All I could read all of that is I'm going to do what you did to my mom. Just wait. Nothing like a woman scorned. Again, thanks you guys so much for being here. You're the best. I think of John Bonet now, hearing about Ivanka. I think it's the same crowd of the elite. The mothers are on board and let it happen. These children don't even get protection from their own mothers. The Bohemian Club. Yeah. I heard about Project Esther. I'm not sure about Project Esther, written by the Heritage Foundation. But before I forget, Anna Bees, let me just say that my 18-year-old son, when I showed him that picture, the photograph that's in the thumbnail, the first thing he said was Handmaid's Tale. He said, it reminds me of the Handmaid's Tale, before I said anything. And I didn't even say, what's your impression? I just said, wait till you see this. And I started to talk and he cut me off and he said, it reminds me of the Handmaid's Tale. And this kid is sharp. You know, it was my other kid when he was 18, the one who's active duty in the military, who got so pissed off when I told him about the Kylie Rodney story. He was just incensed. Like the whole thing about the party, he was just like, shut the F up. There's no freaking party. Like he was ready to go to Nevada County and hunt Scammy down and give her a pounding. And I wish he had. No, I just thought it was really cute how much he wanted to fight for Kylie when I told him. I don't even think he saw a picture of how gorgeous she was. He just hated the idea of a girl being done dirty like that. And he was just like, he just saw right through all the crap. He was just like, no, nah. How do the kids say it? Nah. They have a special way of saying it. I can't do it because I'm not cool like them. Written by the Heritage Foundation, Project Esther. They want it to be mostly white people, right? Black and brown, probably enslaved. Women's rights stripped. Women to bear as many white children. Absolutely. Who will be indoctrinated into Christianity? No news against the government, etc., etc. Horrific does not even describe it. The thing about, what's your favorite thing you have in common, father and daughter? Ivanka says, real estate or golf. And he says, I was going to say sex. That doesn't even make sense, first of all. Second of all, absolutely disgusting. Okay. Let me see the rest of my notes. I am at 2 hours. I hadn't even glanced at the clock because I'm just, like I said, I had so much material. I'm just like, I don't care if I go on for 4 years. I've got to get everything into this video today. And I'm reading to you in a second, but let me just eyeball this real quick. I think almost everything is covered here anyway. And, real quick, I'm going to interject this. The tells that our dear leader has, clear as day, you probably already know this. If he says it's a con job, you know he's lying. If he says it's a hoax, you know he's lying. And if he does the accordion hands, you know he's lying. Those are his big 3 tells, in my opinion. So not only does he attack his victims, the survivors, online and publicly, can you imagine having a president of the United States trash you online and in person? I mean, online is quite public. So that was a faux pas to say online and publicly. What I meant was both online and in person. Not only does he attack the victims and then say, you know, we're going to prosecute the people that made these fake accusations, these hoaxes, these witch hunts, these con jobs. He says with his accordion hands, we're also going to sue their attorneys. So he's trying to make it so that people are too afraid to represent anyone who's going to stand up against him. And okay, reading you the things in the Wikipedia about Maria Farmer, Annie Farmer, and Sarah Ransom. So only Maria Farmer has the Wikipedia. And let's see, looking that one up first. Maria Farmer Wikipedia. And I just want to read to you what it says, because we all need to know more about her. She's probably the one I'm betting my money on, since Virginia's not alive anymore. Maria K. Farmer is going to be the one who saves the world. She's going to be like Wonder Woman. She is Wonder Woman. Born 1969 or 1970, is an American visual artist known for providing the first criminal complaint to law enforcement, to the New York City Police Department, and to the FBI in 1996 about the conduct of financier and convicted Rex offender Jeffrey E. Farmer, a figurative painter, has described her and her sister's Annie's experiences of sexual misconduct from Little E and Ghislaine Maxwell to a journalist at Vanity Fair in 2002. But the publication refrained from including it in their accounts. Okay, boycott Vanity Fair, please. Farmer was born in Paducah, Kentucky, to Frank Farmer and Janice Swain. She has 2 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters. The family lived for a time in Phoenix, Arizona. From an early age, she had a set intention to become an artist. Farmer attended Santa Clara University and graduated in 92. She relocated to New York City in 93. How old would that make her? Like 24, 23. I think she was 23 when she first met Little E, but that he and Ghislaine didn't attack her until she was 25, I think. I'm going to keep reading. And I see that you've got some comments, so I'll get to that in a second. Attended Santa Clara University, relocated to New York in 93 to study at the New York Academy of Art, and earned her master's degree in 95. Farmer attended a postgraduate workshop at the Santa Fe Art Institute in 95. After being diagnosed with a brain tumor and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, she was receiving treatment for cancer in May of 2020. That's all it has. Like, are you kidding me? You can do better than that, Wikipedia. So Julie Brown is a really good source. She was a reporter for the Miami Herald that I think spearheaded a lot of this research. Connie Bruck wrote a book August 5th, 2019 called The Devil's Advocate, Alan Dershowitz's long controversial career and the accusations against him. And that's not a book, that's an article, sorry, in the New Yorker, pages 32 to 47. I want to look at that, man. Maria Farmer video interview with CBS News, November of 2019. And then Maria and Annie and their mother interviewed by ABC News, January of 2020. Okay, so let's see what it says about Annie Farmer. Annie Farmer. Annie Farmer. And there is no, see, I got excited. I was like, oh, they just made a Wikipedia page for her. But no, it's Maria Farmer is the Wikipedia. Okay, so this. Oh, and let me read you what she wrote about herself. This is anniefarmer.com. So she is a psychologist. And what a very beautiful photograph. If you can see it, it's just like a road with a beautiful, kind of looks like a sunset, kind of a cloudy sky with a sunset. It's a beautiful picture. It doesn't do it justice on the screen. I love that photograph. Anyway, she has this wonderful quote. In the photograph, it says change is possible. And then below it, it says, may your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. Nelson Mandela. And you probably know what Annie Farmer looks like. Both her and her sister were just gorgeous and such strong people. You can barely see that because the glare. I have to put it sideways like that. Sorry. That's the worst. Anyway, I don't think either of them has kids either. I could be wrong. At some time, this is what Annie wrote on her website about herself. At some time or another, each of us ends up struggling to make sense of things. This may be due to unexpected life events, problems at work or in relationships, or difficulty managing upsetting thoughts or feelings. Whatever the reason, if you feel stuck or overwhelmed, you don't have to face such issues on your own. As a therapist, I am here to help you through these challenging periods. Working together to make meaningful changes in your life may involve learning new skills, tuning into your strengths, and or developing insight into patterns of behavior that hold you back. There are many paths forward, but they all require taking that first courageous step. If you know you'd like things to be different but don't know where to start, please reach out to schedule a consultation. I am not currently accepting new clients. To get in touch about being added to my waiting list or working with another member of my practice, click here. And so then it has find out about Dr. Farmer's background and the services she provides. Let me see if I can. Yeah. I'm a licensed psychologist providing therapy and assessment to individuals and couples. Over the course of my training, I have had the opportunity to work inpatient psychiatric units, community counseling centers, and primary care clinics. Within these diverse settings, I have assisted both adolescents and adults with a wide range of concerns. These include anxiety and panic, depression, the consequences of chronic illness, relationship problems, and grief. I received my doctoral degree in counseling psychology from the University of Texas at Austin. As part of my studies, I completed a dissertation examining the systemic effects of post-traumatic stress disorder on female patterns of OEF veterans. My clinical internship was at the Michael E. DeBakey VA Medical Center in Houston, where I sought out specialized training in the treatment of trauma-related disorders. I earned my BA in anthropology from the University of Pennsylvania. Oh, that's interesting. The University of Pennsylvania is where Donny Toodles got his freaking degree. And Elon got one of his degrees there too. That's wild, isn't it? Where I conducted ethnographic research on women's healthcare for my honors thesis. Very cool. However, I want to look up the other thing that I had in my I think I had it in both of the videos from the day before yesterday, the 2.5 hour one and the hour one. In the description, I put the links to some things that I'm going to see if I can pull up, because I couldn't find it when I just looked it up. So this is let's see. There's something called Wallachai and something called Independence. So let me look up the Wallachai one. That might be the one about Sarah Ransom, but it might be Annie Farmer. No, it's the Sarah Ransom. So it's Wallachai, which is interesting. Sarah Ransom is just beautiful. And she was 22 when the abuse started, so she has a more challenging legal pathway because of that. And let's see, K-Mac, hello. Where did it go? Accordion hands and open mouth. Sorry, I haven't read the comments in a minute. Now I'm thinking of Bill Cosby in that club. Right. Absolutely. Dang it, Nancy. Which picture referring to Handmaid's Tale? The one in the thumbnail. The one where, to me, Ivanka looks like she's hanging against the wall and she's got her hands over her private area. And they're in Churchill's war room bunk. And her dad is standing there with his hands over his privates, thumbs in his belt, and a very angry look on his face. You know, it's reminding me that James Fry always had his thumbs in his belt too. That's kind of a weird alpha male thing, because it's drawing attention to your groin area. Accordion hands and open mouth. Yeah, catching flies. K-Mac, nice to see you. I don't know if you came in earlier, if that's your first comment. Virginia, I can't even get over that picture. Do you think it was a threat posting it? Oh, the picture that Virginia posted of herself with the bruises, that she was threatening them? I mean, because remember, she said with that post that she was going to pass away in 4 days at best. And then it was a month later that she Epsteined herself. I think that the birthday letter leaking out last week was a direct threat from Maxwell, that she's just like, try not giving me a pardon, and let me show you what else I got. And I have to figure out to get an alias name when I'm going online. I know I don't really know how to help you with that, but try Googling it. Just Google, how do I make an alias name when I'm online? And what a name. I have to figure that out as well. That's great. Yeah, we all should have alias names when we're online. Absolutely. Anna B's Patty Cakes. Oh, who is Patty Cakes? I miss Patty Cakes. Is that Patricia Moss or K-Mac? I don't even remember, but I remember Patty Cakes for sure. That's just my first initials, K-Mac, and half of my last name. Oh, cool. It shouldn't be, but the name is too sexual. That's funny. I'm not sure what you mean by that. The Patty Cake suggestion, I didn't take it sexual. I could be naive. Yeah, I don't really get it either. Adios, snooze time. Hey, Fred, thanks for hanging. Yeah, Anna B's, I know you didn't. Trisha Mo, that's clever by Fred. That's another one. But the other Bill C in government. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what this says about Sarah Ransom. It has so many nice pictures of her. Born in 84 and from South Africa, she was one of the Little E Rex slaves and escaped in 07 when Little E sent her to South Africa to look for a young personal assistant. On August 10th, 2019, Little E was found deceased of apparent S by hanging. Prison officials found his body in his cell at 6:30 a.m. and 3 weeks previously he had been found unconscious in his jail cell with injuries to his neck. And I don't really believe that. I think that that's very likely a cover story. U.S. Attorney General William Barr ordered an investigation by the DOJ Inspector General in addition to the FBI investigation, saying he was appalled by E's death in federal custody. During the time of his death, he was 66 years old. Oh, I'm sure he was just appalled. Like other girls, she was tricked by Ghislaine Maxwell, who had been accused of acting like a madame for Little E. Ghislaine made Little E look good. Sarah first met Maxwell on the island and told that she and Little E were more like friends or siblings than a couple. In September 06, Sarah came to New York to pursue her career, and during that time she was 22 years old. However, everything was not fine with her and she was broken. Sarah once approached by another woman at a Manhattan nightclub and gushed about Little E and said he helped me achieve my dreams. Sarah Ransom was convinced by that woman and packed her bag for a trip to his Caribbean island. They boarded Lolita Express. It's a private jet of Little E's, and quickly saw his perverted side of him. After reaching the island, he started to abuse her, and in an interview, she told that, quote, "There were some days I was R'd 3 times a day, and then he would R others," she said, adding that she had to be readily available for Little E and his friends, whom he, quote, "lent us out to," according to New York Post. See, they probably thought they were getting lent out. I think he was selling them out. That's how he made a lot of his cashola, in my opinion. Not just selling arms. According to and blackmailing, he could make money, coming and going, basically. No pun intended. That's gross. Sorry. Trigger warning. I'll get caught up with your comments in a minute. Let me try to finish this one. According to the New York Post, later she said, "In 6 months, I never saw him do a day's work. I never saw him work. He was sexually abusing us all day long." And let me put that in quotes. So, quote, "There were some days I was R'd 3 times a day, and then he would R others," and end quote. Also in quote is the "lent us out to," and then this is, I think, very important in quotes. "In 6 months, I never saw him do a day's work. I never saw him work. He was sexually abusing us all day long," end quote. Later, Sarah Ransom moved to New York and lived in an Upper East Side apartment building owned by Little E. Even there, she was prevented from becoming friends with any of his other girls. You got to divide and conquer. The isolating. Again, take them to an island, take them to the middle of the desert in New Mexico, take them into the middle of the cornfields in Ohio. Moreover, he forced her to lose weight and see a psychiatrist of his choosing. Well, then he can document whatever he wants, like say she's nuts, so if she ever tries to turn me in, we have that documented. Back in Island, Sarah was so determined to escape Little E, she tried to swim through shark-infested waters and gambled her life in the Caribbean waters. After escaping from him, she filed suit against him and Maxwell in 2017. Sarah alleged that Maxwell hired her to give massages to Little E and later threatened to physically harm her or destroy her career prospects if she did not comply with their sexual demands at his mansion in New York and on his private Caribbean island, Little St. James. The suit was settled in 2018 under undisclosed terms. So Sarah was born in 84 from South Africa, and she was 33 years old as of 2019, making her about 39 now. However, there is not much information about her father, mother, and siblings. That's all it has about Dear Sarah. So let's see what you guys have said here, and then I'll read the other one that's more about Annie Farmer. Let's see. Where were we? I just made it up, Annabee says, but it's possible someone already in Patty Cakes. Someone already is Patty Cakes. Oh, yeah, there was somebody in the Kylie Rodney case that was Patty Cakes. She is actually the same one that sent me the Christmas tree ornament with Kylie Rodney on it that we were going to make more of with her consent. We got her consent, but then it never happened. But yeah, that was Patty Cakes. So she was a big Kylie Rodney supporter. But yeah, there can probably be more than one. Or Peppermint Patty. How about that? The one I had a crush on. Oh, I'm sure he made money from it. Sorry, I'm being confusing. I was talking about members of the Bohemian Club when mentioning the Bill Cosby. Let's just let that go. I agree, Patricia. He is probably guilty, but maybe not SA or child SA. He probably has a Rex addiction. Well, and I wonder what that actor knows, the one that allegedly drowned on his family vacation last week. That is really sad either way. Come here. Oh, come here, baby. I had all my notebooks piled up so that I could show you the little bundle of fur. And then they all fell and they scared her. She said, "Oh no, not notebooks. That doesn't sound like fun at all unless I can eat them. Unless I can chew them up." Let's see. Did you hear the little growl? I agree, Patricia. He's probably guilty. Okay, I already read that one. And for sure, she didn't mean Cosby. She meant, oh, thank you. Yeah. Him too. Billy Bob. Ugh. Yeah. And that was crazy how Hillary stood by her man when all that Lewinsky stuff was going on. I'm going to let the dogs out because she's not very well housebroken. I'm afraid she'll go to the bathroom in here if I don't let her out right now. Hey, babies. Want to go out? Want to go out? Go on out, babies. Okay. Let's sit down and read the part about Annie Farmer. And then we are almost at 2.5 hours. We might want to be wrapping up soon. Get my mic over here. Let's see. How do I get to that? Dang it. How do I do this? I see. Go here, and this is from the Independent. I think this is the rest of what I wanted to share with you about Annie Farmer. Or no, this is just an article about both of them. Let me see. Dang it. So we got the Wikipedia. My fabulous cocoa butter lip stuff. Okay, so I'm going to read you this article from the Independent and then maybe wrap it up after that. Are y'all ready? Is everybody ready? Last time I put in certain names, I flagged Jazz. Oh, thank you for your consideration, Patricia. And yeah, it's just we don't want to be confused, right? I know I always try to clarify as much as I can. So if people are watching that aren't familiar with the speaking in code, it's annoying to have to do it. But anyway, this is the article from The Independent. Are you ready? Sunday, January 28th, 2024. So a year and a half ago. The Independent. This is the title. Two women tried to expose Jeffrey Little E 3 decades ago. Why didn't the FBI stop him? Maria Farmer contacted the FBI in 96 after she and her little sister were molested by Little E. While the recent unsealing of documents provided some clarity regarding the extent of his criminal enterprise, federal authorities have failed to answer why it took so long to prosecute the disgraced financier. I wish they wouldn't call him that because they make him sound so fancy. The financier. How about just the disgraced criminal? Because he was just a con man. Andrea Blanco reports. Annie Farmer knew the answer she'd been looking for nearly 3 decades would not magically appear in the more than 4,000 pages of Jeffrey Little E documents unsealed this month. But she hoped she might get some semblance of an explanation because Annie wasn't just a victim of Epstein, she was a whistleblower. After being molested as a teenager by Little E and his associate, Ghislaine, his associate, convicted child abuser, Ghislaine Maxwell, her sister reported what they knew to the FBI. They expected a full-scale investigation. What they got was 10 years of silence. Yes, I'm just looking at the time. It's 6:15. Annie followed the unsealing of the Little E documents in New York from a distance, more than 1,000 miles away in a different state where she's created a life far removed from the events she's recounted to investigators, journalists, and in court countless times. It can feel really tiring, she tells The Independent over the phone. I was glad to hear these documents were being unsealed and there was going to be a little bit more to be shed on some of the players involved. But it was also something I was trying not to focus on too much. Annie was introduced to Little E and Maxwell by her older sister, Maria. I'm sure Maria has probably never been able to forgive herself for that. A New York City-based artist whom Epstein had hired to do artwork under the guise that he wanted to support Annie's education. Little E invited the then 16-year-old to his ranch in Santa Fe in 1996. There, Annie was molested by Maxwell and Little E after they pressured her to have a topless massage. At night, Little E curled up in bed behind the terrified teen. This is really creepy. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. It doesn't get too graphic, but you don't even have to use your imagination. Epstein curled up in bed behind the terrified teen. A scene she later described while testifying in Maxwell's 2021 trial. Months later, her sister Maria, who was also assaulted at his New York City townhouse. Months later, her sister Maria was also assaulted at his New York City townhouse. So he hadn't assaulted Maria until after he assaulted the little sister. So that makes more sense why she went ahead and introduced them, not knowing. When Maria learned that Annie had been similarly abused, she reported Little E to the FBI. 28 years after Maria first contacted federal authorities, only for the report to be buried for a decade before Little E's Florida investigation, and 22 since the Farmer sisters first came forward with their story to the media. for a Vanity Fair story that was eventually killed. The full extent of Little E's crimes is still unraveling. But while the public attention has been largely placed on the predominant names linked to Little E and the scandalous revelations in the last batch of unredacted documents, core questions about the way federal investigators essentially ignored the Farmer Sisters reports have yet to be answered. There's been sensational aspects of the case and a lot of focus on who's been on what plane, on what date, and what does that mean, Annie said, but we still haven't had any answers in terms of why was that FBI report not followed up on? Why was nothing done earlier to stop him? An investigation that took 10 years and bore no federal charges. The first indication Maria had that the FBI even filed a case for her complaint was in 2006 when agents showed up at her door following the initial investigation by the Palm Beach Police Department into Little E's Rex trafficking ring. See, again, I really think that this whole thing was a distraction from not only his involvement in the eventual collapse of our economy, but the people affiliated with him, like Dear Leader, who was his best friend until 2004, right? His best friend until 2004. This happened in 96. And I think that they were best friends from around 89 or 90 until 2004, at least, that they'll admit to. 15 years that they will admit to. And like I said earlier, friends, like Donny Toodles doesn't have friends. He's a transactional douchebag. Anybody he interacts with, he's got to get something out of the deal. Every interaction he has to get something out of the deal. I'll read your comments in a minute. I want to see if I can power through at least a good chunk of this. Let's see. Little E was only charged at the state level, landing a plea deal that many saw as an insult to his many victims. The pedo's 2008 secret, quote, sweetheart deal allowed him to serve a short 13-month sentence in a private wing of the Palm Beach County Stockade, which he was allowed to leave and return to every day so he could, quote, work at a charity he dissolved as soon as he was released. Yeah, I bet he was doing a lot of charity, huh? Because he obviously cared so much about people. Little E's door was often left unlocked. Deputies tasked with his security outside of prison premises wore business suits rather than uniforms, and he was often photographed flying to and from New York in his private island, Little St. James, during his year of house arrest after being released. His victims, isn't that not allowed? His victims were not notified of the sweetheart deal. To add insult to injury, one of the agreements written into the deal was that authorities would not go after Epstein's co-conspirators. So the deal was illegal, so it should be null and void anyway. I mean, that's the one thing that Ghislaine is trying to put on her, use as a platform to launch her Spring Me plea to Donny Toodles. The distressing fact is that while the investigation was going on in 2006, years after seeing it initially reported, other clients of ours were being abused. This happened right under the nose of the FBI. Jennifer Freeman, an attorney representing Maria Farmer, tells The Independent. Last year, Freeman sent a notice of claim to the FBI, a necessary step before suing a governmental agency. In it, she argued that the Bureau had done little to investigate Little E and, quote, nothing at all regarding reports of child sexual abuse material at Little E's homes, end quote. According to Freeman, Maria and fellow Little E victim Sarah Ransom now plan to sue the FBI. So this is a year and a half ago that this is written, that when they're saying this. They are all now demanding an investigation by the DOJ and the AG to determine why it took so long to prosecute Little E when evidence of his depravities had been made available to the agencies decades before. The federal authorities could have brought their own indictment, Ms. Freeman said. That's the thing for the elite. There's no accountability. Trafficking in a motel, you go to jail. Rex trafficking on a private plane and on a private island, nothing happened. Nothing consequent happened. Why does Rex trafficking for the elite have virtually no consequences? Freeman pointed out that there have been instances in the past in which the FBI has conducted internal interviews when investigative failures are suspected, such as in the Parkland shooting investigation, the Larry Nassar sexual assault scandal, or the Charleston mass shooting. But months after sending their request for a review, the FBI has yet to respond to Freeman's notice. We haven't received any suggestion that any kind of investigation has been going on. Some of our clients have been contacted, Freeman told The Independent. Was Little T on the plane? Was Clinton on the plane or the island? That's what people seem to be interested in. They're useful and important questions, but that's not the whole of it. Both DT and BC vehemently deny any wrongdoing, and there is no investigation into their activities. Mystery surrounds material seized from Little E's island. Another question that has yet to be addressed, and the focal point in the impending lawsuit, is the lack of transparency regarding the reported child sex abuse material seized from E's home in Little St. James in litigation between an E victim and J.P. Morgan. That's interesting. Litigation between a Little E victim and J.P. Morgan. It emerged last year that the late Peto's estate had encountered a trove of pornographic content, some of which might explain child sex abuse pattern, CSAM. The judge in the now settled suit ordered the estate to stop reviewing the material and immediately report to the FBI if there was any suggestion that it contained CSAM. However, months after the filings, it remains unclear what became of the material or whether it is under review by the federal authorities. The FBI declined to comment on Ms. Freeman's remarks and the potential existence of CSAM in Little E's estate when reached by The Independent. There is certainly more to know, Annie told The Independent. I don't know whether we will ever learn more about that, but I don't think we know everything. Annie says she's grateful for the accountability she did witness. She was able to face Little E during a bail hearing before he passed by S in 19, but has reckoned with the fact that a flawed system has repeatedly failed victims. Abuse continued even after the reports. Victims were labeled, quote, teenage prostitutes, end quote, and now it seems that answers victims were seeking will not be provided. When people are seeking a sense of closure, the criminal justice system feels hollow, she said. I think that's in part just the nature of the system. That's the whole article. So let me see what else you guys are saying, and then we'll wrap up because we are getting close to 2 hours and 45 minutes. Thanks a million for being here, you guys. Let's see. Where were we? Cosby is all the way guilty. Oh man, and he got sprung on a technicality, basically similar to the type of technicality that Ghislaine is trying to implement, in my opinion. Flagged jazz. Okay, Cosby is all the way guilty, and he is disgusting. Sorry, I was just listening. Oh, you're good. So yeah, to my understanding, what got Cosby sprung was that he gave a deposition and was told that any information that he shared in that deposition wouldn't be used against him. And then there was a change of the guard, like whoever was the prosecuting attorney, I think probably in Los Angeles, was a new one. And then the new one did what they wanted to do, and they prosecuted him based on that deposition that he was told he would have immunity from. And so he was able to use that with a high-powered attorney and a lot of money to get sprung. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Law enforcement, to be completely honest, to my understanding, they lie, and they're allowed to lie. So they can say, we don't know anything about this. They can say whatever they feel like they need to say to get their job accomplished, and they're protected by their job. That's the nature of law enforcement. That's why they can abuse their power so readily. And so if they say something, I mean, a lot of criminals know this, and so they will never talk. They will never say anything because they know that law enforcement can turn on a dime and do whatever they want. So, yeah, if Cosby's guilty of what he was guilty of, then he should suffer the consequences of his actions, in my opinion. But the technicalities are how the rich get out of trouble. It's their get out of jail free card. You can always find a technicality. You can always find a Mark Furman. And so with Ghislaine, that illegal sweetheart deal that I like to just call criminal deal of the 13 months in the little wing of the county jail, 12 hours a day with the door unlocked. And it didn't mention in that article is that little E paid those guards himself, because altogether for the 13 months, it was like $160,000. And it was a special detail that wasn't in that department's budget. So he was paying the people that were watching him, like talk about the fox watching the hen house, right? Insanity. So in his sweetheart illegal deal, it was said that part of the deal was that none of his affiliates would ever be prosecuted. And it's just like, that's just not even, there's nothing about that deal that's legal or sweet. Acosta needs to be sued, and both civilly and criminally for that. The judge needs to be sued, both civilly and criminally for that. Anybody involved needs to be sued, both civil and criminal, in my opinion, for that crap. And so that's the little technicality that Ghislaine's trying to say, well, I'm one of his affiliates, so therefore I shouldn't be held accountable for anything because of that bullcrap deal that he got in Florida that he should have never got. It should not even be a thing. This is the gaslighting. I feel like a cat chasing my tail. It's like, it's a moot point. It just doesn't have anything to do with anything. She's guilty of what she got charged with. However, because she knows where all those freaking birthday cards of the naked ladies with the Donny $2 signature in the privates, she knows where all that stash is, and so much more than we can ever imagine. I mean, you just can't make this crap up. You can't even imagine the crap. Like, so she's Donnie's only hope. to ever come back from Scotland. I mean, honestly, I don't think he's coming back, but I'll probably be proven wrong in a couple of days. I think he's going to go to one of those 20 countries that I read off the list, the ones that don't extradite, and then he'll do a Roman Polanski there for a decade or two until he passes away or fakes his own passing away, does a Brian Laundrie, right? Or gets Epsteined, because he's kind of he's kind of a fall guy too, in a way. I mean, both him and Little E, I think, are that there's puppet masters behind them in those places that I won't mention again, but you can use your imagination. People with deeper pockets than the sea, right? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up after I read the rest of your comments. Yeah. I wish they would have listened to Maria and Annie. Can you imagine? So all of the people that were abused after 1996 should be able to sue Acosta, the court, the lawyers like Dershowitz. Seriously. I mean, Dershowitz is on the list, in my opinion. Cosby's wife as well. The rich rarely get what they deserve. Possibly Cosby's wife on TV as well. They hate him in Scotland. Oh, I know. Just like all the love that J.D. Vance got on Nantucket Island, right? His TV show wife. Oh man, they hate him over there. I know. And they're not a country on the list that doesn't extradite. So I don't know if maybe they have certain laws on a technicality that they can hold him there for the accusations. It's quite a reach, especially with him being El Presidente. But yeah, that whole thing about the immunity, the presidential immunity does not apply for crimes that they committed before their time in the office. That's what we will wrap up on today. Thank you for being part of this extremely long live. Love and light. Scotland isn't holding back on their absolute hatred for the D, and nor should they, right? Do I hold back? I try not to. I used to try to hold back just because I didn't want to get into politics, until I realized that was doing a disservice to myself and the country that I represent. I mean, I'm kind of being tongue-in-cheek, but seriously. Love and light. Have a really good evening. I hope that you can stay hydrated, eat your protein and your veggies, and I will try to do the same. And hopefully see you mañana. Hasta la vista, baby. Take care. Goodbye, everyone. I hope you have a great evening and night. Yes. Hopefully see you about 2 tomorrow, but I'm not sure. I will do my best.